and welcome aboard for another edition of Fire Your MD Now, and you can check me out 24/7 on the World Wide Web at the web address of the same name, fireyourmdnow.com. If you'd like to call me live on the show today or any day, that number is... I don't know what that number is. I lost that number. It's here somewhere. 855-347-3696. That's the number for my associates. To call me live on the show, it's 866-582-9933. You knew that. 866-582-9933. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. 866-582-9933. And today we are going right to the phones as the phone lines are loaded. We are going to talk to Cheryl, who's calling in from California with a question about pain. Cheryl, welcome aboard. You are live with Dr. Glidden.
Hey, Dr. G. It's Cheryl Lynn again. I was talking with somebody where my mother lives, and she just happened to start talking about how all these changes have happened for her, and I went, I'll get you on the phone with Dr. G today. She's 27, 28 years old. She's Latino, so she's eating certain kinds of foods, which is fine. When she maintained her weight around 145 until she was 24, then she started adding about 20 pounds a year without reason. Then in February of this year, she woke up in immense pain. It wasn't menstrual cramps, which is what everyone thought at first. She went to the ER. They said she had an enlarged appendix, and they removed it. And ever since then, she's both gained weight. She's added about 12 pounds in 6 months. She said her bones hurt every day when she wakes up. She can't eat the regular foods that her family fixes anymore, the spicy foods, because it burns her stomach. She's tired all the time. And then she said, in addition to that, she said menstrual cramps drive me crazy both mid-month and then when I have my period. And she said I'm hot all the time, but she is about 200 pounds. She's maybe 5'6" and around 200. So she's got a lot of insulation. There you go.
That's it?
That's it. So
right.
She said all of her numbers are normal. She has blood pressure's normal. All those things are normal. She doesn't have diabetes.
Yeah, okay. So. She does have diabetes?
Does not.
Does not. All right. So bad menstrual cramps, any type of cramping anywhere in the body, restless legs at night in bed, Charlie horses at night in bed, cramps if you're a long-distance runner, menstrual cramps, muscle twitching and tics twitching, your muscles in your back cramp up or your muscles in your arms cramp up spasmodically. These are all calcium and magnesium deficiencies. Calcium and magnesium deficiencies only. The problem that she had with her digestive tract, most probably it was caused by all of the foods that she's been eating her entire life, because everybody in this country eats all of the wrong foods all of the time. Everybody in Mexico eats all of the wrong foods all of the time. Everybody in France eats mostly good food except for the French bread. And, if the French, who are the second healthiest people in the world, stopped eating bread and baked goods, they'd be the healthiest people in the world. But that ain't never going to happen. So whenever we see somebody with chronic digestive problems, probably the MDs did not need to take out the appendix, but when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, so that's what they're going to do. She needs to stop eating gluten. She needs to stop eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats. No more wheat, no more barley, no more rye, and no more oats. Now, because they took her appendix, did they leave her gallbladder? Does she still have her gallbladder?
She did not say, but she said her liver is a concern of theirs now. They say it's enlarged or something, and she said, I don't drink at all, so I don't know why my liver is inflamed.
Yeah, well, her liver is enlarged if it is enlarged, because oftentimes the MDs will get it wrong. And I've seen tons of incompetence in the diagnostic arena in MD land. Not only are there therapeutics based on, half of the information that's available because they don't know anything about medical nutrition, but oftentimes they just get it wrong. I mean, they just get it completely wrong. They do the wrong diagnostic test. They do the wrong blood work. They come to the wrong conclusions. And then because nobody questions them on it, they just take the ball and run with it. I've had patients misdiagnosed with conditions for years. I mean, it's quite remarkable to me how incompetent the conventional medical profession can be and get away with it. But again, that's a conversation for perhaps an entire segment on this radio show. So what are we going to do here? We're going to support and promote the health of her digestive system, and we do that with the gluten-free diet, avoiding the other 6 deadly foods, and 1 healthy digestion pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, 1 healthy digestion pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, plus 1 extra bottle of Cal Toddy a month, 1 extra bottle of Cal Toddy a month because of the chronic calcium deficiencies that she's had. So she does those 2 things. Everything should start to come around for her, and perhaps one of the things that you're going to need to dial in for her is figuring out the dose, because people that have problems with their digestive tract often have problems absorbing the nutrients. So the recommendation for the Red Beyond Tangy Tangerine powder is 1 scoop in 16 ounces of water, taking at least 30 minutes to drink it. So, it's 1 scoop per 50 pounds of body weight, right? So the recommendation is 1 scoop in 16 ounces of water, taking at least 30 minutes to drink that down. If somebody does that and it's still a problem, like it creates diarrhea or cramping or gas in the intestinal tract, then put the scoop into full-fat yogurt. Put 1 scoop of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine into full-fat yogurt, or you can dilute it in twice as much water and take twice as long to drink it. So that would be 1 scoop in 32 ounces of water, taking 1 hour to drink it down. You may need to beat around the bush with her dosage in order to dial it in appropriately, because her digestive tract is in trouble. And also because they removed the appendix, her immune system is going to be compromised for the rest of her life, because the beta cells, which are a part of the immune system, are made in the appendix. Again, most MDs don't know this. Most MDs don't know this. Let me say this one more time. Most MDs believe that the appendix is just some vestigial thing from, our antediluvian ancestors, and the body doesn't need it anymore, but that's incorrect. In chickens, the appendix is referred to as the bursa, and the B cells were named because they're made in the bursa. The appendix makes a component of your immune system. That's why it's there. You need to preserve the appendix. You need to preserve the tonsils. You need to preserve the adenoids. But the MDs just want to slice and dice because they're incompetent, old-fashioned, outdated, out-of-touch, reductionistic killers. They are the leading cause of death in the United States, the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. And the only time you should let one of these people even near you is if you're in an emergency room and you need to be in the emergency room, or if you're in the military field tent and you need to be in the military field tent, because they're good at that. All right, so she's going to need to look out for her immune system because her immune system is going to be compromised for the rest of her life. So she should be educated about the beneficial uses of colloidal silver for infections, about the beneficial use of killer biotic for infections, and she needs to be focusing on having a healthy amount of protein into her body every day. The recommendation is between 60 and 80 grams of protein every day. 60 and 80 grams of protein. Why? Because the immune system is made from protein. How about that? So anybody that has a compromised immune system needs to be eating more protein every day. So I want 50% of the food on her plate every day to be protein. If she does that, avoids the 10 bad foods, and takes those nutritional supplements, she will start to recover her health every day. But the single most important thing she needs to do is fire her MDs, and fire them now. Sounds good?
Sounds good. I have a personal question for you. Are you a fan of the rock group Yes, since you use Roundabout as your entry music?
They were my favorite band growing up. How about that? You are the smartest girl in class. You're paying attention. You go right to the head of the line.
Did you ever hear it in quad, along with the song Money that they did?
Oh, yeah, it's great. Yeah, some of the greatest. I went to some of my most fondest memories of high school were going to Yes concerts. That's taken me way back, isn't that?
I'm jealous. I only got to listen to my brother's albums, but good for you. I loved it. They're my favorite.
It's a small world. All right. Thanks for the call. Thanks for everything that you do. And remember, you are the last best hope. your community has for living a long, healthy, and wealthy life. Next up is somebody from Arizona, I believe, Gerald, perhaps, from Arizona, calling with a question about gluten intolerance. Gerald, you are live with Dr. Glidden. Welcome aboard.
Yes, sir. I've discovered that I am gluten intolerant. I've started off on the Healthy Start Pack, and it wasn't doing me any good because it was going through me. My wife is not exactly helpful. She doesn't agree with my approach. So my question is, I was told that all of the benefits of what I was taking wasn't doing any good, and I don't want to waste my money. I tried going with the instead of the OsteoFX in the Healthy Start Pack, I just went back to that, what was the minerals that helped me?
The plant-derived minerals?
Yes,
the cherry mins or the plant-derived minerals?
Well, it was the health-derived minerals.
Yeah.
And not very nice stuff, but at the same time, I definitely am having problems with arthritis. It seems to be getting worse. And I guess I don't want to waste my money, but is there some compromise that I can make until I can get more wholly onto the gluten-free diet?
Well, all right, good questions all around. And, we need to work inside of our life's architecture. We need to work inside of the predicament that we've created for ourselves in our life with our wife, our husbands, our bosses, or whatever, right? So the thing about medical nutrition, however, is, Gerald, that it's no different than antibiotics. I mean, it's a dose-dependent phenomenon. So if your MD told you that you needed 30 milligrams of a certain antibiotic to get rid of a sinus infection, well, if you took 10 milligrams of that antibiotic instead of 30 milligrams of the antibiotic, it wouldn't work. Now, does that mean that antibiotics don't work? No, it just means you didn't take enough. Well, it's the same with medical nutrition. We need to be as close to the dose as possible in order to develop specific and measurable results. Stick with me, we're up against a hard break. I'll tell you exactly how to dial that in inside of your constraints when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Gerald about many different health issues here. So, Gerald, what specifically is your chief complaint? What is the reason, the biggest health concern that you're dealing with in your life?
Well, I started out trying to get rid of my diabetes situation, and since that hit a dead end, I hit the wall with this glucose intolerance, or gluten intolerance, rather. So then I backed away, but then my arthritis is really kicking in. I went to a chiropractor, and they showed my spinal vertebrae nearly all fused together with calcium. So I've between the arthritis and everything, I'm on a downhill run. I've got bone spurs on my heel.
Okay, so what specifically did you do? And you still have a blood sugar issue, right? What specifically did you do to try to get on the other side of the blood sugar issue?
I took the Healthy Start Pack.
Did you do the Healthy Start Pack or the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack?
Well, ultimately it was the blood sugar pack because I got the sweeties separately, and doctor gave me instructions on that. Had several things in there, the stress.
Yeah. So you did the de-stress and the sweeties and the Healthy Start Pack. How long did you do that for?
Probably 3 months.
And what happened to your blood sugars?
Nothing.
At all?
Nothing at all.
Okay. So the only time that medical nutrition does not work is if you're not taking enough of the stuff or you're not absorbing what you're taking. It's kind of like we're attempting to fill up a nutritional tank in your body. You don't really have a nutritional tank in your body, but it's a good metaphor. Now, if we're pouring the nutrients into the top of the tank, by swallowing the nutritional supplements, if we're eating food that's punching holes into the bottom of the tank, the nutrients that we're taking are going to be leaking out. So you might be taking the appropriate dosage for your body weight, but you're only absorbing 25, 30, or 40% of it. And when that's the case, it's going to take a long time for all of this to roll around in your favor, and it's really going to just be a delayed thing. So there is one thing that you can do as an experiment, just to kind of see. And so here's what I would recommend. Now, everything else that you've got, by the way, from our point of view, type 2 diabetes, the problem with blood sugar, is caused by multiple mineral deficiencies. That's what causes it. It's not genetic, and it's not caused by aging, and you don't have a voodoo curse. And arthritis is a facultative breakdown in the nutrition of the joints. Your body has run out of the stuff it needs to keep the joints healthy, so the joints are starting to deteriorate, the joints are starting to calcify, the joints are starting to just lose their structural integrity, and this is not good. You're also probably, it's been my clinical experience that the vast majority of the time, people that have arthritis like this, that's, it's like bad and it's everywhere, there's stuff that you're eating unwittingly that's aggravating the arthritic condition, and it's a problem. So here's what I would like you to try for 14 days as an in-house experiment. For 14 days. And if this doesn't work, I'll eat my darn hat. All right? So for 14 days, I would like you to take, how much do you weigh, by the way, Gerald?
180.
Okay. So here's what I'd like you to take for 14 days. Every day, I want you to do 1 ounce of the white liquid calcium, the Osteo FX Plus or the Cal Toddy, whichever is easier for you. 1 ounce of the white liquid calcium 4 times a day. 4 times a day. And I want you to put that 1 ounce of white liquid calcium in 3 to 4 ounces of cold water. 3 to 4 ounces of cold water. 1 ounce of the white liquid calcium 4 times a day. And I'd like you to take 10 capsules of glucogel 3 times a day. 10 with breakfast, 10 with lunch, 10 with dinner. We're only going to do this for 14 days. 10 with breakfast, 10 with lunch, 10 with dinner. And I would like you to take 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in 32 ounces of water twice a day. 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in 32 ounces of water twice a day. And each time I would like you to take 1 hour to drink that down, minimum. You can take longer to drink it if you want. Sip from it all morning long and then make your afternoon's dose and sip from it all afternoon long. 2 scoops in 32 ounces of water. Take at least an hour to drink it down. And finally, the essential fatty acids, I'd like you to take 9 a day. 3 with breakfast, 3 with lunch, and 3 with dinner. So do that program plus 100% avoidance of all of the 10 bad foods and see what happens. Question everything, ladies and gentlemen. Question everything, especially if it's coming from the mouth of a scientist. Question everything. Years ago, they tried to convince us that, we're descended from the apes and, you can have evolution. I believe in evolution and that the body, mutates and changes over time in order to adapt to its environment. I mean, Darwin proved that in the Galapagos with all of the different species of birds with different wings and different beaks, which they had developed, evolved into in order to help them feed on the different plants that were specific to that island, right? I mean, the biological systems adapt and change to their environment. But there's a difference. There are rules about evolution. There are rules about how long it takes somebody to adapt to the environment. Desmond Morris wrote a very famous book called The Naked Ape, where he completely slammed, with real good science, the notion that human beings evolved from chimpanzees, because in the time frame that it took for the humans to show up on this planet as far as the archaeological evidence goes, it would be not nearly enough time would have passed for the human beings, modern human beings, to have lost all of their hair. It couldn't have happened. Not enough time has gone by in order for that to happen, right? So, there's fuzzy science here. There's fuzzy science. You can have creationism and, a divine presence directing stuff. And after that, species evolve. And you can have both. And that's what's happening as far as my point of view is concerned. But that's not the point. The point that I'm trying to get at here is, first the MDs tell you that, it's all about genetics and it's all about evolution, right? And then they tell you, well, you have genes hidden inside your body which turn on or turn off, which cause cancer or which cause type 2 diabetes or which cause you to get fat. You've got the fat gene, even though they won't tell you what it is. You've got the type 2 diabetes gene, even though they won't tell you what it is. And this doesn't make sense from the greater perspective of evolution, because how is it possible for the human being to have evolved with the cancer gene? How is it possible that more and more and more people are getting cancer now? If it was, in fact, keeping with genetics, which is what they've been telling us for the last 100 years. Genetics is a very viable force in the world, and it's all about genetics. Why is cancer going up? If genetics was the cause, if there really was a cancer gene, you would expect the cancer rates to be going down, because the way that evolution happens is that people with the bad genes are supposed to be weeded out of the population. But cancer rates are going up. Type 2 diabetes is going up. High blood pressure is going up. Obesity is going up. Autism is going up. Alzheimer's is going up. If it was genetic, these things should all be going down. So on the one hand, they tell you that it's genetic, and on the other hand, you've got all these statistics about the incredible incidence of all these chronic diseases, and these two things don't square. They just don't square. They just don't square. And yet, the average Joe on the street, the average Jane on the street, not really having a firm grasp on this greater subject of, genetics and science in general, whenever they hear the word genetics, we feel intellectually inferior. And, you genuflect at the altar of the high IQ of whomever is telling you this nonsense. There is no gene that codes for type 2 diabetes. That's not why Gerald has type 2 diabetes. It's not genetic. It's a nutrient deficiency, and this was proven in 1957 by Dr. Walter Mertz, an MD, by the way, interesting. Could turn type 2 diabetes on or off in laboratory mice by giving them or removing from their diet the mineral chromium. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, over 90% of the soil in the United States is deficient in chromium. So that's why type 2 diabetes is on the rise. The reason that it hasn't happened sooner and faster is because in the United States we eat food from all over the world. So we eat food that's grown in soils all over the world. And even though U.S. soils are deficient in chromium, the soils in South America are not. The soils in Mexico and Europe and Africa are not. So by luck of the draw, when you go to the supermarket and buy those grapes, grown in the Andes, maybe you're getting some chromium. Maybe you're getting some nutrients, because the soil that stuff was grown in is different than the soil in the United States. And quite frankly, there's no soil anywhere on the planet that's all the same. You can have, even in one cornfield, one particular row of the corn is going to have so much nutrient in it. The next row is going to have a completely different nutrient makeup, especially when it comes to minerals. The corn only needs 6 minerals to grow. You need 60. There's no soil anywhere in the world that has all 60 minerals. So it's only a matter of time until your body develops a deficiency in a mineral, and then you get sick, and then your MD tells you it's genetic, and it's nonsense. And, we believe it, because it's reinforced. All their peers tell them it's genetic. And then they say, it's not genetic, it's epigenetic. They move the goalposts, and we give them a pass. Well, wait a minute. For 100 years, you've been telling me it's genetic, and now you realize it's not genetic. It's epigenetic. This means we've got these mystery genes, these hidden genes. Somewhere inside of your chromosomal matrix, there's a hidden gene that's just waiting to turn on. It's going to be switched on by something. Well, what's it going to be switched on by? What's it going to be switched off by? It's epigenetic. I don't think so. You can't have it both ways. And this is, intellectually what's the word? Inauthentic. It is intellectually vapid. It is intellectually, it's just stupid and doesn't make sense from an intellectual point of view. 2 + 2 does not equal 5, and you can't make fire with water. Well, under certain circumstances you can, but, you know, it's really hard to start a fire with water, right? Yeah, 2 + 2 does not equal 5. Gravity really does exist. You can't just jump off of the roof and fly because you imagine that you can fly, right? And if you're around in the 60s and did LSD and had any friends who jumped off of roofs thinking that they can fly, you'll know what I'm talking about. There are laws that are in play here. There are laws that are in effect here. But the MD's understanding of those laws is stilted. And it is blinded by, filters. The MD observes the world not as the world is, but through preconceived intellectual filters that have been reinforced by their education and their professional societies. They do not see things clearly, and yet they believe that they do. And this is the reason why you need to fire your MD. Because they have thrown the baby out with the bathwater, and they don't even know that they did it. They are colorblind art critics, but they do not know that they are colorblind. They are completely blind to at least half of the information necessary in order to make a proper diagnosis and come up with a proper treatment. This is why they have completely let us down and failed us. For goodness sake, the MDs don't even know how to fix heartburn. They can manage it, but they can't cure it. They can manage it, but they can't cure it, and they have no earthly idea of what causes it. And yet, we give the people who have no earthly idea of what causes heartburn $600 billion to come up with a cure for cancer. What? What? You've got to be kidding me. That's like giving a student who failed elementary math a scholarship for algebra. It's like, what? You wouldn't do that. That's like giving the cripple in the high school class the scholarship for football. What? You wouldn't do that. Well, that's exactly what we do with medicine in the United States. And why do we do that with medicine in the United States? Because it's a monopoly. MDs have legislated themselves into top dog position. They have legislated themselves into first place. And they have been there for so long that we have become culturally conditioned to believe in the myth of their magnificence. Ladies and gentlemen, the MD Emperor has no clothes. Their therapeutics are completely wrong. The only thing that they're good for is surgery, when surgery is necessary, and trauma care. And according to Harvard University, you got to be careful even when you're interfacing with the emergency room doctors, even when you need it. Because according to Harvard University, 51% of emergency room doctors are addicted to street drugs, prescription drugs, or alcohol. 51% are alcoholic or drug addicts. 51%. That's a lot. And, they get a pass. Can you imagine what would happen if one naturopathic doctor, or one chiropractor, one herbalist, one acupuncturist gave one patient, a medicine that killed him? Are you kidding me? We'd be pilloried in the town square. It'd be front page USA Today news. Oh, naturopaths kill people, but the MDs do it, and we give them a pass. The MDs consistently fail to help us recover our health. We give them a pass. And, it's time that we stopped. It's time that we snapped out of it. Really, I call this show Fire Your MD Now for a reason. You need to fire your MD now. You need to do it. Stop listening to what they say. What they say most of the time is nonsense. Do not listen to what your MD has to tell you about health. You want to listen to what your MD tells you about how to invest your money? Go right ahead. You want to listen to what your MD has to tell you about how to vote in the upcoming election? Go right ahead. You want to listen to your MD tell you about how to cook a cheesecake? Go right ahead. It's a free country. But if you're going to listen to these people tell you about what to do for your health, you're barking up the wrong tree. And you are getting advice from the profession that's the leading cause of death in the United States. You are getting advice from the profession that's the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. And you are getting advice from the profession under whose watch Alzheimer's has skyrocketed, autism has skyrocketed, obesity has skyrocketed, arthritis has skyrocketed, and we have lost the war on cancer. You want to continue to go to those people? You're freaking crazy. Really. The only reason that you go to those people is because you don't know there's an alternative. So what are you going to do instead? Well, you're going to wrap your brain around the notion that healing is easy, because it is. That's another thing they've convinced you, that healing is some sophisticated, complicated process that only needs to be attempted in multi-million-dollar, high-tech, expensive medical facilities, and it's nonsense. Surgery is complicated. Healing is easy. In order to support and promote the healing ability of your body needs three things. It needs the proper nutrition. It needs the 91 essential nutrients. It needs enough antioxidants every day. And you need to stop eating food that's gumming up the works. You do those three things, and your body, you will stimulate your body's ability to fix itself. And that's a beautiful thing. And so how are you going to do this? How are you going to learn about this? It's easy. You go to fireyourmdnow.com, click on the link for Dr. Glidden's online health recovery program, and you sign up for the subscription, and you teach yourself these methods. If you can pass the driver's license test, you can pass this course. You can learn how to be your own doctor. You can learn how to minister to yourself. You can learn the simple steps that are necessary to ensure your genetic potential of 120 years. Did you know that your body has the capacity to make it to 120 years? Did you know that? Well, guess what? It does. Do you know why you don't even get close to that? Because you go to the MD when you're sick. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a fool's errand every time. David, you are live with Dr. Glidden. Thanks for the call.
Hi, Doctor. I heard your message about the herniated, some kind of disc, a herniated disc maybe yesterday.
Yeah.
And I've got that problem, to cut it short. Just what she was talking about, the palpitations.
Yeah.
They have run through me between the emergency and my cardiologist. They've done everything. Yeah. They think I'm a nut because they can't find anything wrong with me.
Well, see,
he's been working with me for 4 years.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's very frustrating. And, you know, again, this is a testament to their hubris, because when they can't find anything wrong, they blame you.
Yeah, it's Xanax or Ambien if they can't get it. Yeah.
That's right. Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's just crazy, man. And we put up with it all the time. Oh, it's so frustrating.
What I wanted to know is, so I'm proactive here. I'm gonna find some guys I know of in my area that can do this. What you were saying, you know, find a doctor to do this. But I want to know, can you die in the meantime? Because these palpitations got so harsh the last few days. It's like being hit by a lightning bolt. I jumped out of bed at 4 in the morning. When I fall asleep, it hits me.
Yeah, you can't mess around with a heart problem, and you know you need directed care for this. Now, if you can't find anybody local, call my office, and I do consultations with people all over the world all the time.
I'm thinking about that too. Yeah, so I will do that.
You don't have to fly to Chicago. We can just talk about it over the phone, through Skype, through the phone, and we can dial it in. But let me give you a nutritional heads up that you can start in the meantime. Okay.
Right.
All right. So the basic premise here is to support and promote the health of your musculoskeletal system and provide it with the nutrients that it needs to stay healthy and actually to regenerate itself. And cartilage will regenerate itself. Cartilage will regenerate itself, and that's the stuff that the intervertebral discs are made from. So the recommendation here, David, how much do you weigh?
130.
Okay, that's going to be easy then. So 130, we're going to up that to 150 to calculate the dose easier. 150 pounds, you would need 15 glucogel a day. 15 glucogel a day times 30 days in a month is 450 glucogel a month. So there's 240. So you're going to need 2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count. 2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count a month. Okay. In addition to that, I'm going to recommend you take 2 bottles of something called Cal Toddy. C-A-L-T like Thomas O-D-D-Y. Cal Toddy. 2 bottles of Cal Toddy a month. I'd like you to take that 1 ounce in 3 to 4 ounces of orange juice twice a day. And I want you to take the second dose of that immediately before bed. 1 ounce of the Cal Toddy and 3 to 4 ounces of orange juice twice a day, with the second dose being immediately before bed. Slam that stuff down, brush your teeth, jump into bed. The third thing to take is I want you to purchase 1 bottle of something called Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
I've used it, all the past year.
Okay, great. So the dose on that's important. All right, you need 1 scoop 3 times a day. 1 scoop 3 times a day. So, 1 canister will give you 1 scoop 2 times a day. So you're going to need to buy 2 canisters for the first month and 1 canister for the second month, and so forth and so on, in order to meet the 3 scoops a day goal. All right.
Okay.
Now, you can put the scoop in 1 scoop in 16 ounces of water, or 2 scoops in 32 ounces of water, or 3 scoops in 36 ounces of water, but you have to drink that stuff slowly. If you just throw it down, it will give you diarrhea or gas. So you got to put the recommended dosage is 1 scoop in 16 ounces of water, and to drink that 16 ounces over 30 minutes minimum, all right?
Okay.
So the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Cal Toddy, the Glucogel, and please eliminate the 10 bad foods from your diet. And we'll email you that list for free if you go to fireyourmdnow.com and opt in for the email list, okay? So check that out. Follow that program. Call me up if you need to. I'd love to help you. Otherwise, find a holistic physician in your area. Take your nutritional supplements. Change your diet. Live long and prosper. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you tomorrow.